I'm going to jump right into the agenda here. The first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to review Samtrans FAIR policy principles, and we'll look at a summary of the recommended changes. For each one of those changes, we'll then go into a bit of background analysis and review of the recommendations. We'll then go through a couple of slides that just have summaries of the FAIR policy principles for the recommended changes. This is more for viewing at a later time, and we will not rehash each one of them. But we'll talk about the timeline and the next steps for these changes, and then open it up for any questions if applicable. The Samtrans FAIR policy has 5 key tenets. The first is ridership. When any changes are made, we want them to be focused on encouraging ridership, to be affordable, and to be simple, or to preserve and grow ridership among core ridership groups, such as low income or youth, which is a strategic market. We also need to focus on cost recovery, meaning that fares must support current and future service, offsetting a portion of Samtrans operating expenses. We want to focus on customer experience, meaning that our fares are easily understood by customers, are transparent, and are justified rationally. We also look at administration and overhead, meaning that fares should be straightforward, facilitate efficient operations, embrace technology and innovation, and be cost-effective to administer. And the fifth is strategic adjustments. That's what we're doing here. We need to evaluate fare changes for consistency with the fare policy and ensure that fare discounts are used to incentivize the aforementioned markets for Samtrans. Looking at the changes that we are talking about today as recommendations, we have 2 different fare structures that we'll be bringing to the board for recommendations and that we'll be talking to you about today. The first fare structure will be effective on January 1st, 2024, after board adoption. And the 3 things that we're focusing in on are, first, the elimination of our summer youth pass product. Second, a consolidation of a local and express fares for a single price. And then the third would be a waiver of fares for prearranged public school field trips. The second fare structure would be effective post our Clipper Next Generation implementation, which is estimated to be done in fall 2024. And the recommendations that are in this fare structure are introduction of contactless onboard payment using credit and debit cards, which is also known as open payment functionality, an introduction of a day pass and a monthly pass accumulator, which is also known as fare capping. We will be moving our mobile fares from our current mobile application to Clipper Mobile. And we will be recommending participation in a regional transfer discount program. We're now going to go into these individual recommendations, and we'll start with the Summer Youth Pass program. To give you some background, Summer Youth Pass provides unlimited Samtrans bus service for youth that are under 18 between 6/1 and 8/31 for a cost of $40. Historically, this program was introduced in 2005. However, it was paused in 2020 and 2021 due to the pandemic. And also, it was not executed in 2023 based off of internal Fair Working Group recommendations. This program is administered through a few channels, including our central front desk, the Samtrans mobile app, some outside vendors, and also the Samtrans online store. And this program requires quite a bit of internal annual collaboration. The departments involved are customer service, Samtrans operations, fare operations, marketing, and also Samtrans planning. So why are we recommending to stop this program? If you look at the chart on the very left, you can see that the Samtrans ridership for this program has been on a consistent annual decline. In 2017, we had about 87,000 passengers, and in 2019, we had 46,000 passengers. However, in 2022, you can see that we only had 6,000 passengers utilize the Summer Youth Pass. The reason why we saw this huge decrease in utilization of this pass is because Samtrans introduced a program called Samtrans Youth Unlimited, which provides students that qualify for free and reduced lunch year-round bus transportation on Samtrans at no cost. So you can see in 2022, 47,000 youth rode our Samtrans service using that Youth Unlimited ridership pass, while we had a huge decline in ridership. The chart to the right shows you Summer Youth Pass expense recovery, and this shows that this program, just only looking at sales revenue and marketing expense, is hard for us to support from a fare recovery perspective. You can see in 2017, we spent $72,000 just on marketing and only brought in $78,000 in revenue. And in 2022, we only had $22,000 in revenue, and the marketing expense was $10,000. So when we look at this program altogether, we think that it's at best break even, because there's considerable time with staff resources that are expended on launching this program on an annual basis. When we look at it from a fare policy perspective, we see that the ridership is impacted at a very low amount. Cost recovery, we believe that eliminating this program will be a positive impact to Samtrans. We don't think that there will be a large customer experience impact. And from an administration and overhead perspective for Samtrans, it's a very positive impact, as we'll be able to focus on other programs that can provide a larger impact to the community. So staff recommendation is to eliminate the Summer Youth Pass from the fare structure effective January 1st, 2024. The next item we'll be looking at here today is express and local fare consolidation. From a background perspective, there's currently only one express route operated by Samtrans, which is the Foster City Commuter Express, which offers weekday morning and evening service between Foster City and downtown San Francisco. These fares are available via Cash, our current mobile app, Clipper, or an adult monthly pass, and folks using this have a 2-hour transfer window from local routes. And there also is an available upgrade charge from those riding local to express. The table at the bottom shows our current express and current local fares. You can see that our express fares for adults are about $2.25 higher on Cash and mobile, and about $1.95 higher on Clipper. An eligible discount, the express is about $1.15 higher on Cash and mobile, and $1 higher on eligible discount. Why are we making this recommendation? So if we look at ridership for the FCX or express route over time, you can see in the left-hand graph that we've seen ridership decrease post-pandemic. We only had about 13,000 riders in 2022, and we expect about 14,000 riders in 2023. When we look at it from a revenue loss perspective, if we change the express price to the local price, In the last couple of years, we expect for it to be about a $20,000 to $30,000 annual impact. So the impact to Samtrans from a cost recovery perspective is very low. But we will be able to make our fare structure much more simple and hope to increase the express ridership with a lower fare. When we look at this from a fare policy perspective, we expect to have a positive impact on ridership. The cost recovery is a low impact. We expect customer experience to be positive as there will be lower fares and an easier to understand fare structure. And from an administration and overhead perspective, it's also positive as we don't have to sell as many fare products. The third item we will be talking about today in the first fare structure is a waiver of fares for prearranged school field trips. Samtrans would like to allow students the opportunity to learn and experience Samtrans service and encourage future ridership among that group. From an administration perspective, San Mateo County Public Schools will be able to request a waiver from the district and provide that documentation to operators to ride the buses. We think that this is an excellent recommendation, and the impact to the cost recovery is extremely low. So if you look at the chart here, you can see that if we provide 5 field trips this year, it only costs us about $255. If we provide 20, it would cost us about $1,020 in revenue. When we look at this from a ridership perspective, we expect this to have a positive impact as we'll be providing free rides to youth. From a cost recovery standpoint, it will be very minimal. It's also positive. Customer experience, we expect it to be a positive impact as well. And from an administration and overhead impact, we don't know how it will be impactful, as we don't know how many field trips, but we expect for the initial year to only yield about 10 field trips, so it wouldn't be difficult to administer. We're now going to move into the second fare structure, which will be executed once Clipper Next Generation is finished, estimated in fall 2024. So the things that we're recommending are some exciting new features that will allow for customers to pay in new ways and allow for our transit riders to access our systems more easily. So the first one is open payment acceptance. So what is this? Open payment is a feature of the Clipper Next Generation system. Fares will be priced at Clipper fares, which is a 20-cent difference from the current cash fare, and customers will be able to use their contactless credit and debit cards to pay. In looking at this, we did an analysis to understand what the potential revenue impact is to Samtrans, and we see that if 10% of our current cash riders were to switch to open payment, it would cost Samtrans about $20,000 in unrecognized fares. It increases about $20,000 per 10% of riders that switch from cash fares to open payment. However, this potential revenue loss could very easily be offset due to increased ridership as we have this new open payment functionality and make it easier for riders to ride our services. So from a fare policy perspective, we expect for ridership to increase because of this new functionality. We do not know what is going to happen to cost recovery, as we could have new riders that offset this decrease in revenue. From a customer experience, we think this is an excellent new feature to promote ridership for Samtrans. And from an administration and overhead perspective, it's positive as we would have to provide less paper tickets to cash riders. The next item we'll be looking at is the enabling of a day pass and a month pass accumulator. So who will be able to take advantage of this? Customers using Open Payments or Clipper will be provided these fare caps for daily and calendar month usage. The day pass accumulator will be capped at 2 times a one-way current Clipper fare, and the month pass will be capped at the current Clipper month pass price. Riders that use Clipper Start will be priced at the same as an eligible discount amount. So you can see that for adults, the day pass accumulator will be $4.10, whereas the month pass will be $65.60. And eligible discount and Clipper Start day pass will be $2, and the month pass accumulator will be $27. Please note that anybody using Open Payments will be charged the adult fare prices. Looking at how this could impact us from a financial perspective, we did an internal analysis that looked at historical Clipper usage for Samtrans riders and estimated what the impact would be to our revenue if these fare caps had been in place. The result of that analysis is that it impacts revenue at about $25,000 per month, which is a $300,000 annual impact. But once again, opening up this new functionality could potentially offset this revenue loss due to increased ridership and utilization of Samtrans bus services. When looking at it from a fare policy perspective, we believe this has a positive ridership impact. Cost recovery is unknown, as we may be able to offset these financial impacts with increased ridership. We think that this is excellent from a customer experience perspective, as they won't have to worry about purchasing passes or day passes and will be able to simply ride with ease. From an administration and overhead perspective, this is also positive, as we will have to purchase less fare media. The next item that we're going to talk about today is a move from mobile fares to Clipper Mobile. So why is this happening? This is happening because based off of the agreement with Clipper, bus fares at Samtrans will need to be removed from the current mobile app within approximately 6 months of the Clipper next generation execution. Group purchases and single ride tickets will be available for purchase on the Clipper application. And there will be a difference in price versus what the current mobile application is and the Clipper application, which is lower for Clipper users. So from an adult perspective, it will be a 20-cent discount compared to the current mobile app for one way, and 10 cents one-way discount. For day pass, it'll be a 40-cent discount for adult riders, and there will be no change in the eligible discount. Once again, we need to look at what the impact will be by moving the mobile app to Clipper. In order to do so, we looked at all of our mobile ridership over a 6-month period and reduced the cost of each one of those fares by the amount of the current mobile app price to the Clipper reduced fare. When doing this, we see that the annual impact is about $17,000, but this could be reduced as we will not have to maintain the current mobile app. So from a ridership perspective, we think this is positive, as users will not have to go to multiple places to purchase their fare media. It'll be all in one on the Clipper app. From a cost recovery standpoint, we think it's positive, as we'll save money on our current mobile costs. Customer experience, we think, is also positive, and administration and overhead is positive as well, as we will have it all in one place. The final item we'll be talking about today is participation in a regional transfer discount program. So what is this? This program applies to Clipper single ride fares at each participating agency, where the passenger will pay the full fare on the first agency used and then transfers to the other agency within 2 hours of the first boarding will be discounting up to a limit of $2.50 per transfer. Passes are not included in this, but pass holders may receive a discount when they are transferring to an agency where they use single ride fares. And transit agencies will be reimbursed during the pilot program. There is one note that Samtrans will be responsible for 50 cents of each one of the transfer fares that they execute. So from a ridership perspective, we think that this has a very positive impact as customers will be able to travel at less expense, and hopefully it will increase ridership. From a cost recovery, we don't think that there'll be any real impact as Samtrans is responsible for the first 50 cents, but we should see increased ridership. From a customer experience, we think this is very positive, and from an administration and overhead, we think that this is a positive impact as well, as we won't have to maintain agreements for each of our transfers with other agencies. In this fare deck, which will be available for you, there is these tables that provide you a summarization of each one of the recommendations and how they impact our fare policy principles. I've reviewed these as we've went through each one of the items individually, so I'm not going to go through it again here, but they will be available for your review. So from a timeline perspective, we currently are internally doing our Title VI analysis. This was presented to the Samtrans CAC on October 25th. This will go to our board as an informational item on November 1st, and then we will have a public hearing and proposed board adoption on December 6th, 2023. So now is the opportunity for any questions, if there are any, or we can end early.
Thank you, Bruce. As Bruce just said, we will now begin our Q&A portion of the evening. During the feedback portion, you can ask questions or provide any comments you have through the chat or the Q&A function. And you may also raise your hand if you have a question or comment, and I will ask you to unmute. I see a hand raised right now. So when I call on you, please introduce yourself and ask your question or make your comment. Please keep it brief and on topic, and please remember to speak slowly for our interpreters. Okay, Ben, I am allowing you to talk and just, yeah, you should be able to unmute now. Ben, go ahead when you're ready. Ben, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
Ben just wanted to give me a high five, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. I think we can hear you
Okay.
now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, my name is Ben. I'm on the CAC, so I did get this presentation. Um, After thinking it over for like the past couple days, I did have a couple of questions about the summer youth pass. So, I thought it was a little bit strange how after only 1 year of trial, only one summer of trial, you're ready to consider it like um ready to consider removing it because I feel like the drops you're seeing could just be from COVID, right? Like since 2022 was the first year post COVID, I think it might be better if you gave it another year and gathered more data, maybe done more marketing because I also saw the marketing cost was below the revenue. So did a little more marketing, gave another year, and see how many people would use it then rather than because I think some of the drops you're seeing could just be from COVID. So that's my recommendation.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Go ahead, Bruce. If you want to respond, or we can just take that in as a comment.
Well, I would say that I know that even pre-COVID that there was discussions about discontinuing this program due to the low ridership that was seen during that time, and the amount of internal effort that was necessitated to administer the program. And I understand what you're saying. You can see Sorry, 1 second. So Ben, you can see that like summer youth pass ridership in 2022. You can see once we provided the Youth Unlimited that we had a big flip towards that path, towards that pass away from the summer youth pass, right? And you can also see that in 2017 through 2019, even though marketing spend was pretty much on par, that there was a decrease in interest and participation in the program during those years as well. So you can see like in 2017, there was 87,000 riders, and in 2019, we reduced down to 46,000 riders. And then in 2022, it pretty much all flipped over to the Youth Unlimited ridership and had very little participation in the Summer Youth Pass. I think that I think you had brought up last time, Ben, that it would be better if there was like a lot more information to schools about the summer or the Youth Unlimited program, like marketing during the times of when kids or youth are going back to school, or making awareness higher of the program at those schools. And internally, we think that the resources that we're spending on the summer youth or the youth pass right now would be better allocated towards those types of activities. So I hope that helps to give you an understanding of what our thought process is.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, I don't, right. Obviously I don't fully grasp the overhead part. So if it's too complicated, I mean 6,000 is like not a lot, but obviously it is still 6,000.
I agree with you.
But like seeing, I agree with your decision.
Yeah, there's just like there's a lot of like internal resources that are required for us to launch any type of program. It requires like a lot of people. The marketing expense wasn't that much in 2022, but it still required internal collaboration of like 15 people, and we have to spend quite a bit of our time on it instead of focusing our time on other things that could increase ridership or provide more value to the public than that current program does. But your concerns are heard and acknowledged.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead and raise your hand, pop them in the chat. Okay, I'll give it a couple more seconds. Just stalling. Anyone else? Okay, well, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to participate tonight. We really appreciate it. And just a few final things. We will hold a public hearing as part of our regularly scheduled Samtrans board meeting on Wednesday, December 6th, which starts at 2 p.m. on this topic. For more information, visit samtrans.com/fairs. And thanks again for coming and have a great evening. We will go ahead and end the meeting now.